All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to unpack some really big, really important topics: gender, race, and sexuality. And we're going to start with something that might surprise you, something many of us know all too well: the school uniform.
Yup, you heard that right. We're starting with the school uniform. It seems so simple on the surface, doesn't it? But it's actually this incredibly powerful symbol that's going to help us unpack some really massive ideas.
I mean, think about it. This one single piece of clothing is designed to make everybody look alike. And that immediately raises a huge question. Does making us look the same actually make us the same? And what about the real person, the real identities hiding underneath?
The clue is right there in the name: uniform, a single form. For decades, the whole guiding principle is pretty straightforward. If every student looks the same on the outside, then they'll be treated as equals on the inside. It's a simple, and in many ways a powerful idea.
But if we dig a little deeper, as our source material from the Ministry of Education does, there was often another, more historical goal at play. The uniform was part of a bigger project to standardize students, to create a norm, and to discipline any bodies or identities that didn't quite fit that mold. This quote even mentions a heteronormative adjustment, which is basically a way of saying it helped reinforce the idea that being straight was the standard, the default.
So, if we really want to understand that unique person underneath the uniform, we first have to make sure we're all speaking the same language. The sources we've analyzed are super clear about some of these core concepts.
First things first, let's pull apart two words that we tend to use interchangeably all the time: difference and diversity. According to our sources, they are definitely not synonyms.
Okay, so here's the breakdown. Diversity, well, that's just the fact that there's variety in the world. Different cultures, different opinions, different people. Pretty simple, right? But difference, that's a whole other story. It's something we create as a society. It's always defined in relation to some kind of norm, like that ideal student we were just talking about, and it always involves power. So while celebrating diversity is great, understanding difference is how we start to see the hidden inequalities.
Now, let's take these ideas and apply them to two of the most personal and, let's be honest, often confusing parts of who we are: our gender and our sexuality. To help keep things straight, our sources offer this really simple but super effective mental model. Just picture three different boxes. The first is biological sex. Let's call that the body box. This is your physical hardware: chromosomes, hormones, anatomy. The second is gender identity, the mind box. This is your own internal, deep-down sense of who you are, whether that's a man, a woman, non-binary, you name it. And the third is sexual orientation, the attraction box. This is about who you connect with, who you're drawn to. The most important thing to remember: these three boxes are independent of each other. And all of this incredible human variety is what the LGBTQIAPN+ acronym tries to capture. It's not just a random collection of letters. It's constantly evolving because it's trying to recognize that vast, beautiful spectrum of gender and sexuality. Each letter represents a unique way of experiencing the world.
Okay, so now let's add another absolutely essential piece to this whole puzzle. How do we fit the concepts of race and ethnicity into this framework of identity?
Let's be as direct as possible here. The science on this is 100% settled. Genetically speaking, there is only one human race. The idea of different biological races has been completely debunked. As the sociologist Kabengele Munanga says so clearly here, race is a social concept. It's an idea that we as humans created.
And because race is a social construct, that means racism is more than just individual people being prejudiced. Our sources really focus on this idea of structural racism, which is how discrimination gets baked into the very systems of our society. It gets embedded in the normal, everyday functioning of our institutions, and it creates unequal outcomes even when no single person is being intentionally hateful.
And if you want to see what that looks like in the real world, just take a look at Brazil. The black population there, combining people who identify as Preto and Pardo, is the majority. Yet when you look at who holds positions of power in politics, in business, in the courts, they are vastly underrepresented. That gap you see right there, that's the impact of structural forces.
So how does a society even begin to tackle something like that? Well, one major policy response has been affirmative action, like this quota law for federal public service jobs. The goal here isn't just about giving everyone an equal opportunity, but about taking an active step to repair historical disadvantages and push for genuine inclusion.
Which brings us full circle.
right back to where we started. We began with the school uniform, and now we're returning to the school itself, because it really is this critical crossroads where all of these different identities and complex issues intersect. And a major survey by the Ministry of Education and UNESCO shows just how complex that crossroads can be. Look at this stark difference in attitudes. You've up to nearly half of parents who say they wouldn't want a homosexual person to be their child's classmate. For students, it's about a quarter. But then you look at the teachers, and the rejection rate just plummets. This really shows what a unique and challenging position educators are in, right in the middle of it all.
So all of this naturally leads to the one big question, right? What's the way forward? How do we navigate these conversations and bridge these huge gaps in a way that actually moves us forward?
Well, the philosopher Hans-Georg Gadamer had a thought on this that really hits home. The answer, he suggests, is dialogue. And as he puts it, we can't pretend it isn't hard, but we also can't pretend it isn't absolutely essential. Real dialogue isn't just about understanding someone else. It's about being willing to challenge our own certainties so that we can truly listen.
And that's exactly what we've been trying to do here, building that shared vocabulary, separating those boxes of sex, gender, and sexuality, understanding race as a social idea, not a biological fact. Getting that groundwork right is the essential foundation for any kind of meaningful dialogue.
And so that leaves us with this one final thought to carry with us. Understanding is the first step. It's a massive, crucial step. But the real challenge, the real question that we all have to answer is, what's the next one?